Hey guys, welcome to session 2 of our confirmation program. What we're going to do in this session over the couple of videos and assignments we're giving you is help you to start building or grow in building your relationship to God. One of the main and best ways for doing that is prayer, which Addie will talk more specifically about in our next video. But what I want to do right now is just talk about why it is important to grow a relationship with God in general. Like, what is the point of all that? And why is it such a priority for us human beings and our flourishing, our happiness? In order to do that, I'm going to start by talking about my Sunday last week. Now, like all of you, like all of us nowadays, I'm very busy. I've got this job at church. I'm in grad school, so I'm taking classes and writing papers. I have family things. I've got another side job. I have a million things. I work all week. I work all night. Most weekends I work. So it is insane, much like you, I'm quite sure. But last Sunday, it just so happened that I had a day where nothing was needed of me. I had no homework. I had no work things to do. I didn't have to go run a bunch of errands. I actually had a day to myself. So I had to go to church. Obviously, I went to church. And then when that was over, I was done. And I said, you know what? Screw you guys. I am done. I am taking this day for myself. Leave me alone. So I shut my bedroom door and I spent the day by myself doing what I wanted to do. So I played video games. I binged Netflix. I sat on my phone like a blob for an hour. It was fantastic. It was exactly what I wanted. Now, I had come into that day feeling pretty stressed and harried and crabby because it had been like 21 days since I'd had a day off. And the thing is, as the day went on, for a little while, the first hour or so, I was actually kind of enjoying myself, getting some rest, relaxing, unwinding. But as the day kept going on, as the hours drew, longer and longer, I started to find that I was no longer getting any more relaxed than I had been. In fact, as the day went on, I started to get crabbier and crabbier, which is ironic because I was literally just having fun. But after like the first hour or whatever of relaxation, I found myself just kind of like getting a little, sour and crabby. And I thought, why is this happening? I don't want this to happen. I want to relax. And so I dug in my heels and relaxed even more. So, I'd watch another episode of Netflix or play another half hour of my video game or whatever. But that kept going on all day long. I kept digging in my heels, trying to have more fun. And the more I did that, the crabbier and angrier and more stressed I got, until by the end of the day, by the time I went to bed, I felt more stressed and more crabby than I had at the beginning of this day of fun and relaxation. And so I basically ended this day feeling like a bag of trash. But here's the thing, is that I have experienced this process before. I'm guessing that you have too. I would imagine that you guys at some point in your life have probably had an experience kind of like mine, where indulging in whatever you wanted for as long as you wanted didn't give you quite the level of satisfaction or relaxation or whatever that you had been hoping for. Now, to clarify, we all do get relaxed. We do have fun. So, for example, a video game, 30 minutes of a video game is fantastic. It's a great way to relax, to unwind, to have fun with friends, whatever. But if you've ever played a video game for 6 hours straight, you will know, as I know because I've done it, you will know that it does get old. But if you play 6 straight hours of a video game, you will leave that game feeling like a brain dead zombie. Or, another example would be Netflix. Watching one episode of a show on Netflix is also a great way to unwind and relax or whatever. But if you sit and spend a whole day binging an entire season of a show, which I have done, you will end that day feeling like your brain is mush, right? It will not feel good by the time you're done, even though one episode did feel good. And this is true of everything in the world, every created thing in our universe. There are a ton of things in the world, like food, like drinks, like games, like sports, like activities, like video games, whatever. There are a million things that will give us some pleasure or some relaxation. And to the extent that they do that, they are good. So I'm not saying that video games are bad or food is bad or whatever. It is good to relax. It is good to have a break. It is good to unwind. These are all good things. So a lot of the things in the world that we enjoy, they will give us some pleasure, some fulfillment for a little bit. But there is not a thing in this world that will completely, forever, permanently satisfy you. On the contrary, everything in this world, every object, every food, all the money, any game, any activity, any sport, all of them will eventually get old. And you can probably intuit that that's true. So again, think about your absolute favorite food in the world. If you ate nothing but that food day in, day out for weeks and weeks and weeks, you would get sick of it. Think about your favorite activity. If you did that activity for days and days and days and days without ever doing anything else, you would get sick of it. I guarantee you. And if you don't think you would, you are wrong. And any person will get old. I mean, like your best friend in the world, if you were stuck in a car with them and nobody but them and had to talk to them for 24 hours a day nonstop for 5 years, you would probably also get sick of that. These things, again, they do give us fulfillment, but that fulfillment will never fill us entirely. All the things in the world, you can do as much of them as you want, but they will never fill you 100%. They will always get old, and they will leave some part of you, some longing in you, some emptiness on you. They will leave that unfilled. Why is that? That is because each of us human beings has within us a longing that is infinite. And again, infinite here means without boundaries, never ending, never ceasing. All of us have a longing deep down inside for something that is everlasting, some happiness that will never grow old, some love that will never die out. We all long for something that's truly everlastingly great, something permanent. And nothing in this world fits that definition, because every single thing that exists in this world someday is going to fall apart, is going to die, is going to rot, is going to break. Everything in this world is limited. Everything in this world is finite. So nothing in this world, no person or event or food, can fill an infinite gap, can fill an infinite hole. And so if we try to use the things in this world to fill that longing, we will never be satisfied, because nothing in this world is going to be big enough to fill the hole, the longing in our hearts. And so people who try to fill that longing with stuff in this world are going to feel a disconnect. And there's some words that people have used to describe this. So I'll quote here. People have said things like, I am searching for a great joy, but I can't find it. They might say, there is an insatiable longing within me, like a great deep chasm that nothing will fill. They might say, I can't find peace in myself. And I invite you now to take a second and reflect. You can reflect privately, but look at yourself and reflect on whether that resonates at all with you. Whether you have in yourself a longing for something great, something better than the stuff around you. Whether you've ever felt that dissatisfaction with the things in front of you. Now, all of us, I guarantee you, will find dissatisfaction with the stuff in this world. You're not always going to feel it all the time. It's easy to kind of forget about that, to distract yourself. And we all do that sometimes, right? So, but when the cards are down, we will all experience the fact, the awareness that the things in this world are not enough to satisfy us. And if you don't believe me, if you want proof of this, then think about the people who are able to get everything in the world, everything the world has to offer. So think about in your head a celebrity. You probably have one in mind. It could be like a movie star or a singer. It could be a politician or like some rich oil baron or something, billionaires, whatever. People who quite literally have anything that a human can acquire. They can, even stuff that's against the law, right? They can get even illegal stuff they can get and use their money to buy themselves out of getting in trouble, right? So there are people in the world who can get a hold of anything that the world has to offer them. And yet, I'm sure you can imagine these people, and you'd agree that a lot of them don't seem that happy. A lot of them, the people who can get a hold of anything they could want, they still end up doing really awful things. They cheat, they lie, they abuse drugs or alcohol. They rip people off and steal, even though they already have so much money, they literally couldn't spend it all in their lifetimes. They might jump between, 50 girlfriends and 100 wives. The richest people in the world are often the ones who are doing these things the most desperately. Are people who do these things, do they seem happy? Is a guy who spends all night long, doing drugs and alcohol and dating random women, does he seem like a really happy, satisfied guy? No, of course not. Even the richest people, the most powerful people, the most influential people still feel this emptiness if they are relying on the world and only the things of the world to fill them. So we will all feel that emptiness. We will feel a pain when we realize that we have a longing that this world is not enough to fill. And that longing, that pain, that emptiness we feel, it can hurt, but it's not necessarily a bad thing. It's not necessarily a bad thing because it is a reminder to us that our hearts are made for something greater than this world. We have a destiny that is so much greater than anything the world can offer us. In other words, our hearts are empty, not because there's anything wrong with them, but instead because they are so great. Our hearts are so big, they are so wide, they are capable of so much that nothing in this world can fill them, not because the hearts are bad, but because the world is too small. The stuff in this world is too small, it is too limited, it is too petty and insignificant to really match the infinite destiny or the infinite potential that we have within us. Our hearts are too boundless and great to be satisfied with the stuff in this world. Our destiny is something that is unfathomable, right? Our minds can't fully wrap it in. Our goal in this life is to be united with God himself. So again, God, he is the immortal, eternal, all-powerful, all-knowing, all-lover, creator of the universe, maker of time and space. It is our destiny to grow to him, to be transformed by him, to become like him, and to spend eternity sharing in his life. And that is astonishing. It is so astonishing that it's easy to kind of forget about it or not take it in because it's so much greater than the things we are used to thinking about. But that is our destiny. And that destiny is so great. It is so important for us to reach that destiny that the longing we feel in our hearts is good. It's not a punishment, even though it might feel hard sometimes to be dissatisfied with the things of the world. But it's not a punishment to feel that way because it is God's way of reminding us to keep our eyes fixed above, to keep our eyes focused on what we're meant for, and not to get too caught up, not to get too attached to the things in this world that are never going to give us lasting happiness. We have this destiny to be made like God, to become like God. And it is very, very easy to not find that destiny. There are so many people in this world who don't even try to reach that destiny, who don't even try to grow towards it because they don't care. And so they waste their lives doing stupid, meaningless crap, and they die without ever claiming or even reaching for the destiny that God has for them. And to end up in that state, there is a very fancy theological word that some priests might use for that state. That state is called hell. When we talk about hell, we sometimes think about fire and demons stabbing people. But really what hell is to have this incredible destiny prepared for you and to reject it. Hell is to know that there is something out there that can bring you fulfillment and to not even care enough to try to claim it. Hell is the tragedy of spending eternity cut off from the thing that you were made for, cut off from the person who loves you and who made you and can satisfy the longing in your heart. To see that person and to know he's there and to reject him for all of eternity, that is hell. Hell is to sit with the emptiness of being unfulfilled forever. And that is so painful. And it is so sad because it's not necessary. We talk about hell and, we should be aware of hell. We should be aware that it exists, but we don't need to be afraid of it exactly because there is no reason to be afraid of it because God is out there. God wants us to come to him. He wants us to grow to him. He's not trying to push us away. He's trying as frantically as he can to bring us to him. It is very easy to find God. God is right here. He is right next to you. In fact, if you were baptized and if you're in a state of grace, God is dwelling inside of your soul right now. God is inside of you. So you just need to turn to him. God is so eager to be with you that all you need to do to start growing towards him is to reach out. And if you already have reached out, if you have started, to keep persevering in that. Because we do have an incredible destiny. That the longing in our hearts can be filled. And it's not hard to find the thing that'll fill it. It's not hard to find the answer to the question of why are we here. That answer is literally inside of us. It is in the God who is dwelling with us and who loves us. And so we encourage you this year especially to take steps, to make a choice, to grow toward that God. And all you have to do is to make the choice to start. Addie will talk about how you can start doing that through prayer. So I hope this talk was helpful. You'll have a quick couple of reflection questions, and we will see you all soon.